Good afternoon, fellow patriots. This is Matt Shea, and welcome to Patriot Radio, broadcasting live from deep inside the heart of the future Liberty State. Sponsored once again by On Fire Ministries. In the legacy of Dr. Stan Monteith, bringing you the story behind the story and the news behind the news, where it's not about right or left, it's about right and wrong. It's about our hope not being in man, but in Jesus Christ. About not ending in prayer, but moving to action. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Father, deliver us from the evil one.
Welcome to Patriot Radio.
Good afternoon, Eastern Washington and fellow patriots, and all of the rest of the wonderful United States on Patriot TV. This is Matt Shea, and today, the Epstein files are released, but not really. We'll get into why here in a second. And the Middle East. Is there going to be war with Iran? Here at Patriot Radio, we give you information before everyone else so you and your family can be prepared for the times that are ahead and the times that are already upon us. But no fear. We were made for this. So follow us for real-time intelligence analysis and breaking news. You can find that at patriotradio.us/telegram. And as we go through this season of uncertainty and instability and shaking, please make sure that you are getting prayer and you're not isolated so you can make prayer requests to us. And we have a team standing by to pray for you and walk you through whatever you're going through so that you are in community and not isolated and alone. Also, I want to mention that as we talk about some of the issues today, you're going to see online some people that are pretty upset about how the Epstein files were released, and we should be upset. It's been a while. All the promises, but there was a follow-up today that many people missed, and I want to highlight that, and that is Kash Patel at the FBI promises to fill in all the gaps. We'll get to that here in a minute. The Epstein files were first released, but they have always made it compartmentalized. Meaning, if the FBI had Epstein as an informant, there would be two sets of books. We're going to get into that whole thing today on this episode, and also our guest Clare Lopez talking about Israel and Iran and the new peace deal. It looks like it is in the offing between Russia and Ukraine. That brings us now to your wisdom from the Word, coming to us from Ephesians chapter 5, verse 11. And I love how the Lord makes things simple. Do not participate in the useless deeds of darkness, but instead expose them, for it is disgraceful even to speak of the things which are done by them in secret. When in doubt, expose the deeds of darkness. And that would be my call morally to Kash Patel, to Pam Bondi, Representative Luna, and others. Expose the deeds of darkness, because I think many of us know in our gut that this rabbit hole goes very deep and is going to expose some things that people are uncomfortable with in our government. So when in doubt, expose it out. That brings us now to your daily intelligence briefing, coming to us from the globalist front.
The future is built by us.
Humanoid robots building more humanoid robots. That sounds fantastic. Elon Musk foresees a multi-billion-dollar market for his humanoid robot Optimus by 2030. Another entry into the market, Apollo by Apptronic. Others will follow. The combination of crazy smart AI plus improved dexterity and mobility means that replacement of human labor is not something in science fiction now. It is in fact. And the question is, how soon? But we should also ask ourselves a question. Is it going to end up that we are like surrogates sitting in pods at our house, having robots do our labor, having a universal basic income, and really ending up being slaves ourselves? Also on the globalist front, South Africa plans to send a team to the United States to settle a deal. This is the first attempt by the globalists to really I think, settle something in South Africa that would be a template for the rest of the world. We're going to be watching this thing very closely, but I have a feeling that based on some of the recent conversations that President Trump and J.D. Vance have had, that he's going to hold the line. Also, Secretary RFK Jr. halts Biden administration's $240 million contract for an oral COVID vaccine. I think this is just a start. He also canceled the meeting of experts from around the world. And it came to us recently that WHO may be on a financial razor's edge and be closed down soon because of the withdrawal of support from the Trump administration. The globalists are taking hit after hit after hit. And now, from the China front. China's footprint in Africa is undeniable. In 2023, trade with the continent surged to $280 billion, far surpassing the U.S. at $61 billion. Over 2 decades, China has infused $170 billion into African nations, building essential infrastructure, roads, railways, and ports. It's not just an investment, it's a means of control, and I could not agree more. Here's what I want to tell you about this. The Asian way of warfare is to fight to their supply lines, not carry their supply lines behind them like the West. So where you see them investing, where you see them buying up property, they're indicating very clearly where they want to attack. And that is not hyperbole. The atheist communist Chinese have said this many times, starting with General Chi Watian's secret speech back in 2000, and continued it with unrestricted warfare by the 2 Chinese colonels. So, what can we take from this? That Africa will be a battleground for the next 50 years. Map of China from the Chinese media showing the route followed by the PLA Navy task force operating off the coast of Australia. This is meant to be very clearly intimidation, and we're going to see more of this in the future. Also, heavy PLA activity in the Taiwan Strait today. The Chinese sent 45 airplanes, 15 vessels in the vicinity of Taiwan in the last 24 hours. 34 sorties crossed the median line and entered Taiwan's central and southwestern air defense identification zones. This is clearly a ramp up, and what they're trying to do is get people used to them operating in these areas. So when they do decide to pull the trigger and blockade Taiwan, you won't be able to distinguish it necessarily from an exercise. That brings us now to the Middle East front. Israel admits striking Jolani outposts. The defense minister, Israel Katz, said recently the new regime in Syria attempted for the first time to station forces at positions and outposts in southern Syria, and our Air Force responded with a precision strike. We have a deep commitment to our Druze allies in Syria and are currently considering allowing those in nearby areas to work in the Golan Heights. So what is happening there is Israel is at least effectively annexing parts of southern Syria, and the Druze population there and the Christian population may very likely be going along. We'll see if they're going to hold the vote in the near future. The 4 dead hostages have been positively identified, were handed over today in Israel. Please pray for their families. But it looks like the hostage deal may in fact be falling apart. Trump has zero tolerance for terrorists. They have no place neither in Gaza nor in Judea and Samaria. And he is expressing, Witkoff is expressing the sentiments of the Trump regime and the Trump administration. And I think that what's happening now is the Saudis, the UAE, everyone in the Middle East is shaken that Trump means what he says. So, Trump administration really changing things there in the Middle East. Also today, October 7th, investigations came out with their core findings. A large-scale surprise attack was never considered a realistic scenario. The IDF deemed it improbable and was completely unprepared for such an event. The IDF was caught off guard by the sheer number of terrorists, their speed and mobility, and the extreme brutality of the attack. The military relied on flawed strategic assumptions and the overconfidence of the intelligence community in their superiority and early warning systems. May this be a lesson to the United States not to let jihadis do the same thing here. Robert Spencer this week in Jihad with David Wood. Robert Spencer brings up the 70 Christians that were beheaded in Africa that nobody seems to be talking about. But what I see with this is that there are a lot of people that are missing the central core tenet that they are following Islam. Jihad is jihad. Jihad is warfare against non-Muslims. Non-Muslims are Christians and Jews. It's that simple. And so the attempted splinter off of Islam and saying, oh, it's just only some Muslims, that's not what the Tafsir ibn Kathir says. It's not what the Reliance of the Traveler says, the foremost Sunni Islamic law book. Al-Azhar University even says that it is Islamic law. So let's take them at their word. And this also tells us something else. When during Ramadan, someone breaks a fast, they typically pack dates. Why does that matter, you say? Because King Charles and Queen Camilla seem to be indicating that they're Muslim. Highlighting a concern, number one. Number two, corroborating some rumors out there that is in fact the case. Also today, 10 wounded by a vehicle terrorist attack in North Israel that has been confirmed now and is being investigated as such. And it does appear the attacker has been eliminated. Also, a Gazan TikToker called for another October 7th. So people are saying, oh, this is, that they want peace. Not really. And they keep putting these things out. Again, the Trump administration and Israel taking the jihadis at their word. When we come back from the break, more from the Russia front and what's really going on with the Epstein files.
Attention business owners and entrepreneurs, Patriot TV is launching a brand new TV series showcasing American-made products, and your business could be featured. Whether you sell your products online, on Etsy or Shopify, and dream of reaching millions of viewers on smart TVs like Samsung, Sony, TCL, and LG, or apps like Roku, Android, and Apple TV, this is your chance. We're searching for U.S.-based businesses offering all types of products and services proudly made in the USA. If you've ever wanted to showcase your products on TV like QVC or the Home Shopping Network, now's your opportunity. Support our American economy, grow your business, and be seen by loyal Patriot viewers across the country. Know someone with a business or have a business yourself? Don't miss out. Contact us at supportingpatriots.com today. Be a guest on this new exciting TV series. Let's put your American-made products in the spotlight.
The new Supporting Patriots show on Patriot TV spotlights great Patriot-owned companies and introduces them to Patriot consumers, encouraging them to buy American-made. If you're an America-loving patriot that owns and operates his or her own business, and you have made in America products or services, you're the perfect candidate to be interviewed on the Supporting Patriots show. If you'd like to be considered for an interview, email us at supportingpatriots@patriot.tv.
And we're back with the Russia front. A Polish government delegation has visited Romania for talks about joint production of weapons systems, not just technology transfer, but they're clearly focusing on armored weapons systems. Again, signal of a ramp up that if there is not peace, Eastern Europe is still looking at war in the future. Poland signed a contract with the U.S. to lease 8 Apache attack helicopters. They will be used for protecting Polish airspace and preparing pilots for the 96 Apaches Poland bought last year for $12 billion. Those will be delivered in 2028. I said what I said. J.D. Vance calls out Prime Minister Keir Starmer to his face for infringements of freedom of speech, particularly against Christians. This is the kind of true, in-your-face, honest, but strong leadership that Europe is not used to, but is so much needed to make America great again. Starmer says Britain is now ready to send troops and aircraft to enforce a Ukraine peace deal, according to Fox. And Zelensky just touched down at Joint Base Andrews near Washington, D.C., in the anticipated signing of that minerals deal, which is the first step toward peace, tomorrow. Today's negotiations between Russia and the U.S. in Istanbul have ended after nearly 7 hours of discussions on how to strengthen diplomatic contacts between the two countries. And it looks like on that front, it is also moving forward. That brings us to the national front. A rare document lists every organization that was part of the Trump resistance in the Soros Democracy Alliance as of July 2017. An absolutely amazing list of organizations. Obama's OFA, Indivisible, Move On, and these are Marxist-aligned organizations, most of them. Move On, Crew, United to Protect Democracy, Brennan Center, ACLU, Planned Parenthood, Catalyst. This is going to shake things up. This is the kind of thing that will be introduced in court to show the massive conspiracy between these organizations, and also why this needs to be broken up, because this is using U.S. taxpayer dollars against U.S. taxpayers. Incredible. This is going to go, this is underreported already now. So as we're talking about the Epstein files here in a few minutes, keep in mind, this is probably a bigger breaking news story than the Epstein files today. I know that might sound counterintuitive, but it's the truth. People should be studying this, taking a look at this, and saving and passing on this image
throughout history. The spirit
to everybody
of
they possibly can,
prevailed.
because I've heard so many people
may have changed,
just bamboozled with this idea that, oh, there's nothing really going on. Soros is just Soros. A judge has ruled that Trump must withdraw his calls for mass firings at the Department of Defense and other agencies. That's very likely to be overturned, by the way, because the president has the authority to be the chief executive. There's also a shortage of top-notch air traffic controllers. If you are retired but are open to returning to work, please consider doing so. This call has gone out because it's very clear that the incompetent people that have come in there may be causing some of the problem. Let's see. Representative Andy Ogles just formally introduced articles of impeachment against corrupt U.S. District Judge Amir Ali, according to, well, several sources. There's going to be more impeachment articles coming out over the next few weeks, and they are following the suggestion of Nayib Bukele of El Salvador that judges have to be impeached for there to be true reformation. The IRS is closing over 120 offices in the United States just in time for tax day. How about that, you guys? Somebody should cheer. I don't really have a cheering thing, but I'm going to hit the gangster button because the IRS needs to be completely abolished. In addition to that, the far-left New York Times identifies dozens of Doge employees potentially endangering their lives. Elon Musk issues a fiery and ferocious response. Yeah. You need to be called out for that kind of stuff, especially since some of the violent rhetoric over the last 2 weeks is accompanying it. European stock market slide as Trump targets EU with tariffs. I'm not going to tell you exactly what he said, but he did say that the EU was created to hurt the United States. That is correct. It has been part of the globalist plan all the way along. Which brings us now to the Epstein files. Nothing really interesting in the Epstein files because what so far has been released is inventory lists of, well, sexual items associated with Epstein and the island. So what's really going on? Why have they not released the full file and only a binder to specific social media influencers? Well, Liz Wheeler has the story. President Trump and AG Pam Bondi are committed to releasing the files, but the FBI was told to deliver the files to Bondi. They did. It was only about 200 pages. Bondi smelled a rat because there was something juicy in the 200 pages. Nothing juicy in the 200 pages, just the flight logs, Rolodex of phone numbers, and then these lists of sex items, no smoking guns. Well, last night, apparently, a whistleblower contacted Bondi and revealed that the Southern District of New York was hiding potentially thousands of Epstein files, defying Bondi's order to give them all to her. We're talking recordings, evidence, names, etc. So we should be outraged that the binder is boring, but we should be encouraged that Kash Patel says, quote, the FBI, and he put this out today intentionally, is entering a new era, one that will be defined by integrity, accountability, and the unwavering pursuit of justice. There will be no cover-ups, no missing documents, and no stone left unturned, and anyone from the prior or current Bureau who undermines this will be swiftly pursued. If there are gaps, we will find them. If records have been hidden, we will uncover them, and we will bring everything we find to the DOJ to be fully assessed and transparently disseminated to the American people as it should be. The oath we take to the Constitution under my leadership, that promise will be upheld without compromise, clearly referring to this boring list in the Epstein files that were released today. So, General Flynn, get the names of the guilty, do not fire them, publicly arrest them, give the whistleblower a medal and a bonus. Release every single file and do not hold back on any of the information. I completely agree with this, no matter who it might impact. The fact of the matter is the corruption needs to be rooted out of the United States government. And I do believe, and I continue to believe, that Trump will do just that. From Mila Joy, Tamar Eisen, the daughter of Norm Eisen, the mastermind behind a slew of lawsuits targeting Doge efforts at USAID, was a key player at a shady DC nonprofit that's been swimming in millions from, you guessed it, USAID. The National Democratic Institute just pulled a sneaky move, according to Mila Joy, scrubbing its page and proudly boasting about guzzling USAID funds. Coincidence? Well, here's the jaw-dropping receipts for the conflict of interest. So again, more investigations, but there has to be accountability. I think the American people are getting sick of, yeah, we're going to name the names, we're going to call the folks out, but is there really going to be accountability for them? Is somebody going to go to jail? Is there going to be a deterrence? Is, some of these people that have deleted records, have hidden things, have intentionally gone against the president of the United States to undermine him, are they going to be held accountable for it? And then some of the things, like from the intelligence community coming out and saying that they will sell state secrets to undermine Trump. I mean, literally, you're saying you're going to commit treason. Are those people going to be held accountable? And frustration abounds with people, but I mean, it's only been 5 weeks. I think we do need to step back, give a little bit of grace, but continue loudly pursuing this, because I think it's going to change the next 50 years in the United States if we do. CBS News, citing U.S. officials with knowledge on the subject, gave additional details regarding President Trump's move to walk back constraints limiting the ability of U.S. commanders to allow strikes and operations outside the conventional battlefield. That's been revealed. This information compounds on the directive signed by the U.S. Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, earlier in the month. So what does this mean? It means unshackling our ground commanders from doing the right thing and protecting U.S. troops. So when bases get bombed and you have to go all the way up to the White House to get permission to respond, obviously the people that did that will have moved on. Let's trust our ground commanders like we always have and like good leadership does. Pentagon orders removal of pro-diversity content. Praise the Lord. They're just continuing to go down through that. Now, the next article, we broke on Patriot Radio. No one was talking about this at the time except J. Michael Waller. We brought him on the radio and we talked about a settlement in Texas called Colony Ridge. It was an immigration operation from the get-go, and I would say illegal immigration operation. There were schools there teaching in foreign languages. People were coming in droves to this place. Well, finally, ICE, HSI, and the Texas Department of Public Safety cracked down on this illegal immigrant hotbed and raided Colony Ridge. 118 arrested. This is the power of radio. This is the power of decentralized media. You highlight something like this, and yeah, it took a year and a half, but we also got a president elected that would actually do something about it. So, amazing stuff. Pay attention to Colony Ridge. I suspect there's going to be more coming out of that as well. Now, I want to talk lastly about this FBI informant 2-book issue. Mike Benz came out with this, how the FBI hides critical damning evidence about FBI informants from outside oversight or awareness by creating separate sets of FBI books for the same informant, and then putting the actual damning version in a special eyes-only safe only 2 people are ever allowed access to. So this is how they hide information. And could this be what was happening with the Epstein files? Well, it could be, because this is the same thing that happened with Whitey Bulger. CNN Films documentary about Whitey Bulger trial really highlighted how this operates. And I hope Kash Patel is putting this high on his radar screen to stop this duplicity, which has allowed rank corruption throughout the FBI. Now, when we come back from the break, and also accountability. I mean, we should be able to hold people accountable. I mean, these FBI informants, Whitey Bulger, who's running a mafia, shouldn't we be able to hold people accountable and call into question how the FBI is operating? Of course we should. When we come back from the break, Clare Lopez will be with us talking about Iran, Israel, and Ukraine.
American business owners,